Alright, so I'm gonna try to play or start playing catch up with the weekly videos. But as I read the topics, it's really kind of difficult to try to do all of them in one video. So I think I'll just do this one for now, week two, which is your coming out story. That could be read on so many levels, like coming out when, at what point in my life. Um, but I'll try not to talk too long because that can be a long story. So, I guess my first coming out was when I was 12, 13 years old, and I told my parents that I was gay. I identified as lesbian. I mean, they wouldn't. I don't really know how familiar my parents would be if I had said I'm a butch, but so I didn't say that. It was just very dramatic because I grew up in a very churchy. I guess I can't say churchy, but I also don't want to say religious because we weren't really religious. I mean, I think maybe the word meticulous could be effective here. But my background's Pentecostal, and both of my parents were ministers, so it was being in church 7 days a week. There was something going on at church. And I grew up in that kind of culture, so it was very difficult for me realizing, 7, 8 years old, that I was liking girls the way that boys like girls, and knowing or being told how wrong that was. Um, it's very difficult. But, you know, I sat my parents down and told them, tears and all, I'm gay. It didn't go over very well. My dad and I were close, and he stopped talking to me for quite a long time. My mom was more understanding, not comfortable with it, of course, but she loved me, and I have to give her credit for trying to talk to me and trying to understand. It's just awkward, and my teenage years were, oh goodness, how do you describe that? Wasn't completely disastrous, but it was very hard. Um, but I don't know. I have tons of stories from things that have happened to me, but I'm here now. So my second coming out actually was just this year. Um, Throughout that time, throughout those years, though, it's something I always knew. I always knew that I was in the wrong body. It wasn't just me liking women. It wasn't just me even identifying as lesbian, because even with that identity, I still didn't fit. So, I always knew I am a boy with a girl's body, and it pissed me off that I thought there was nothing that I could do about it. So, the closest thing that I could identify with was being a stud, and that's what I did. Um, but this past year, early this year, like I said in my intro vid, I'm in a relationship and have been for 4 years. And even then, I did not tell my girlfriend. I didn't come out and say, hey, I think I'm trans. It was something that I still hid because you just never know what people are going to say, how they're going to react. If didn't know if she was going to leave me. But in February of this year, I really, really had a breakthrough. That was my breakthrough moment. We actually had an argument the day that I told her, and I wound up coming home, and she wasn't here at the time, and I was in the shower, and I just kind of fell apart, to be honest. I was a mess. I was crying, and I knew exactly what it was. It was just time. It was time to stop hiding. It was time to stop running from who I knew I was. And when she came home, I told her, I said, listen, I'm a guy. I can't hide that anymore. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose you. That was my coming out day in February. And from that point on, I've been transitioning. I did not start HRT until September of this past year, 2011. But from February until I started in September, I got myself into therapy. I started disclosing to my family, told my family, I told my church. It's really been, I can say that I feel like everything's happening very quickly, but everything's happening quickly because um, it's something I already knew. It's not something that I had to come to terms with. It's something that I had to, I guess, walk out, and I'm still walking it out. But but it's been a journey so far. I'll briefly say that my church family, because I'm not, of course, I'm not in the same church that I grew up in, and my parents are no longer here either. They passed away in 2003. But it was hard coming out to the church because I thought that I would have to undergo the same thing that I went through in my childhood, which is rejection. I think everybody has that fear of rejection when you're in, an alternative lifestyle, I'll say. Um, but my church family has taken it in stride. Um, I wrote them a letter and I read them that letter. At first, I read it to my pastors, and then um, what I did was I sat part of the congregation down, basically leadership, and had a meeting with them and read the same letter so that they would know this is who I am and I can't hide it. And God loves me and I'm cool with that. He's cool with me and I'm cool with him. And I'm only telling you because you're about to see some changes and I need for you to understand. Whether or not you really accept me, I don't really know who accepts me or not. Everybody seems okay. If they have a problem with me, I wouldn't know it. But you know, so far so good. Same thing on the job. I wrote a letter, read that to my colleagues, and everyone has been wonderful. So my coming out, both times, the first time wasn't so great. This time, being older, being more mature, and just wiser about my life choices and where I am, I'm very happy. I'm very comfortable with who I am. I'm learning this new person now that this person is emerging. I'm learning Mekhi, and it's been wonderful. So that's my coming out story. I hope that people will be encouraged to no longer hide who they are, whether it's gay or trans or whatever. You have to be who you are in order to be truly happy. So I hope that you can take that little piece of advice and start living your own lives. I look forward to making more videos. Like I said, I'm playing catch up. I'm probably gonna do weeks 3 and 4 together. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna make another video tonight. I think the intro and my coming out is enough. But yeah, that's me so far. I look forward to sharing more of my life with you, and I hope that you enjoy my videos. Take it easy.